Welcome to Meridian's eCommerce podcast series. This is the third podcast in this series, and today I'm speaking with Aidan King, who works with us here in Meridian Global Services. Aidan will be chatting to us about his experience in dealing with e-commerce companies' data and how best to generate the information you need when you're filing your VAT returns. He's also going to touch on some issues that he's noticed companies having when they're trying to gather information for filing these VAT returns. Okay, so what are the common issues you see e-commerce companies facing when trying to generate information for their VAT returns?
I would say that the main issue is all around the area of data. I think it can be broken down into a couple of, let's say, related areas. Number one being not capturing the relevant information or data that they need to facilitate accurate reporting. Companies sometimes are not aware of their reporting responsibilities. In addition to the VAT return, there's also Intrastat for goods movement. There can be EC sales and purchase listings that they need. Also add to this the fact that countries are constantly adding new declaration types that may require additional information to be captured for them, such as the communication of data, VAT books and so on. Secondly then, I would say not being able to access the relevant data easily from their system or systems. Quite often a disconnect can exist between clients' accounting systems and their fulfillment systems, and this can cause difficulty for them as they need to gather data from multiple systems or sources. This can be a big effort for clients to firstly understand the systems fully and then extract and link data from multiple sources to arrive at the final data set that they actually need to meet their reporting obligations. Clients would then also need to consider the fact that they can be selling on various platforms such as eBay, Amazon and then their own website, and these all need to be added in to get to the final reporting information. You can see then that the situation can quickly get very complex. Thirdly then, I would say be aware of all your reporting obligations in all the countries where you are selling, and I think key to that then is knowing how to meet them. I mentioned earlier there's VAT return, Intrastat, EC sales and purchases and other compulsory declaration types that now exist in many countries. I think in addition to those that I've mentioned, there is at least 10 additional declaration types and this figure is constantly growing.
What would be the review process that you would suggest companies go through to understand their current situation?
I would say understand your business. It may seem like a straightforward statement, but I think it's important to understand how your business works, to understand the flow of your goods and your invoice flows and so on, and to understand your reporting obligations. So when we start working with our clients during the implementation process, we take time to understand these business flows and invoice flows, and then use them to help the client understand the impact of that on their reporting obligations.
Have we seen any companies that are really on top of this process?
I would say no, in a word, but I have seen instances where companies would have a certain areas covered well. For example, they may be very tech savvy, they may understand their system well and they can gather the information that they need, but they may not be aware of their reporting obligations and vice versa. So I would say that in my experience, companies are constantly struggling to stay on top of all or part of this whole area. We work closely with all of our clients during the implementation phase to help them firstly understand their obligations, secondly to understand their business, and I suppose most importantly to understand their data requirements and to ensure that the relevant data is gathered from all the relevant systems.
Okay, we'll leave it here for today, Aidan. Thanks for the great advice and for talking through some issues that might be new for listeners. If you have any topics you'd like us to chat about in our podcast, please let us know by contacting us at info@meridianglobalservices.com. Chris O'Shea will be back again in our next podcast to talk more on VAT compliance and the different fulfillment scenarios that are related to it.